Great, hello clarinet players, welcome to this week's lesson. This week we're going to talk a little bit more about our exercises, about our phrasing. We're going to go back into the piece now that we have struggled our way through it, gotten the notes at least a little bit under our fingers. We're going to talk more about finesse and technique now. This is my approach when learning a piece, so I wanted to try it out with you, which is in as little time as possible. I would like to blow through the entire piece just so I know what the greater picture looks like, and then go back and carve out the fine details. It's like marble sculpting, right? When Michelangelo carved David, you start with a big chunk of marble and you basically, right at the beginning, you chip away as much as you can very roughly, very crudely. And that's what we've done with the piece. We very crudely chipped out the notes, the tempos, and figured out how it sounds as a total. And then once you have something vaguely shaped like the piece, or vaguely shaped like David in the statue, you start carving out the fine details, the phrasing, the dynamics, just like Michelangelo carved out David's fingers, the veins. If you have no idea what I'm talking about with Michelangelo's David, you need some art history in your life. Go look up Michelangelo's David. It is a gorgeous statue. And that's what I would like us to do, is make a gorgeous piece. So, set your reed, get your clarinet put together. I sincerely hope by the time you're watching this video, your clarinet is put together. But if not, pause me, put it together. Pull out your tuner. Make sure you are telling the instrument that you are a C instrument. Let me push in a little bit. I was a little bit flat. Okay, perfect. I tune to a high C. It's more accurate. You can also tune to your low C, wherever you're most comfortable. Flip open your metronome. We're going to do this more quickly this time because we are used to it at this point. 8 beats on, 8 beats off, full octave. Ready? 1, 2, ready? Get that air going. There it is. Now, one thing I noticed when we all play the scale in the videos that you've sent me is when you hold out a note as many beats as I tell you, it means hold it to the end of the beat. So if you're holding out do, what I've gotten in videos is do, which is really only 7 beats because you cut it off right at the beginning of the 8th beat, right? What I need is do. So you're cutting it off right as the 8th beat ends, where your brain is saying 9, or 1 if you're just repeating the pattern. So it should sound like, ready? So, knowing that, pause me, go back, do it a couple times, up and down, get it under your fingers. That should be about a 5-minute warm-up. Come back to me when you're ready to do the next exercise. Cool. So, next exercise, we've done this a little bit in class. It's our do, re, do, re, mi, re, do. All the way up through the high do. I'm going to bring us down to 60 because I want to be fair and I'm doing this to all instruments. And up at the top, this is going to be a little hard for you. Okay, so for those of you that haven't done this before, I think most of you have, but there's a couple people I've added to the Google Classroom that haven't done this before, new people mainly. We are going to play do, then do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Right? That's the whole thing. Pause me, go back and sing it. Right? While we do this, let me make sure that was do. Yes, I stayed in key. So, that's exactly what we're doing. Sing it and finger it while you sing it. Right? So, it's a little slower to play. Watch me do the first couple ones and then join me. 1, 2, ready. There it is. We're only doing it up today. Next week we'll talk about doing it down. The hardest part for you is definitely going to be the last 3 where we add in la, ti, that jump between A and B is one of the hardest leaps in clarinet. That's one of the hardest things you'll ever do on clarinet, but once you have it under your fingers, it does become pretty natural. Do it at a slow tempo. Do it at 60 beats per minute. It's a comfortable place to be. Get used to it and also articulate your notes strongly. So notice I'm very smooth in my articulations. Each note gets a full beat. I'm not going. You can practice staccato, but whatever articulation you choose to practice, be consistent with it throughout your entire practice. So pause me, do that a couple times, up, down, and when you are ready to join me back, go to your score. Okay, so as we have talked about, measures 3 to 33 are exactly the same between clarinet 1 and clarinet 2. Actually, no, that is untrue. Measures 19, it starts to change. No, it doesn't. I was right. So, remember your key signature. Remember, it is all the same. Today we are talking about phrasing. So phrasing is incredibly important. We have carved out the notes. We know what the notes are. Right now we are going to focus on how to articulate these notes. So we know we begin on a D. Now the style of this part of the piece is very melodic, very smooth, very connected. It is legato, it is all phrase marked, which we pointed out last time means you do not breathe during the big black lines. You can breathe in between the black lines, but ideally we're working to a place where we only breathe where there is a breath mark. That's somewhere we're working towards, and I want you to work towards this week. We are going to pull up the piece. If you did not practice with the piece last time, you will be practicing with the piece this time. I'm going to just pull it up here on Spotify, run us back to the beginning. We begin 2 measures from the beginning. So I want us to get ready. We'll play it once, measures 3 to 33 with the recording. I think the only difference at this point of the piece is the very end, right over by measures 30 and 31. D, F, E, C. D, F, E, C. Yep, the only difference is Clarinet 1 ends on an F and Clarinet 2 holds out the D. So you can both work with me on this video. So, getting ready. Oh no, my Spotify does not want to cooperate. Let me disconnect from my TV and reconnect, see if that works. There we go. So we begin at measure 3. Piano. So that is measures 1 through 33. I did misremember. Clarinet 2 has a slightly different part from measure 11 to 19. I'll go back and play that right now, Clarinet 2. So reading from the beginning, I will do the exact same thing, except for the only Clarinet 2 part. Ready? Measure 3. And then the rest till 33 is the exact same. So talking about phrasing and importance, we begin at measure 3. Now, you are clarinet players, not trumpet players, so I assume that you know when you are the most important person in the band. Trumpet players always think they're the most important person in the band. They are very often wrong. Measure 3, right here. Let's give us a red line. Are we the most important thing that's happening? Yeah, it's the feature line. It's not a melody. Kind of is a melody, but do, re, do, re, fa, me, re, re. It's not actually do, te, do. You are a melody at that point, right? You are soaring above everyone else, and I want you to bring that out. Even though it's marked piano, everything else should be quieter than you. And that's other people's responsibility. That's not your job. Now, at 11, clarinet 2 and clarinet 1 go into harmony. So harmony becomes more prevalent at 11. Harmony added. So you need to crank up the volume, not drastically, but you do get louder. You are no longer the only important thing happening in the melody, though. Other instruments start coming in, and even the clarinet split. And because the clarinet split, you have half of the amount of clarinets on each line, which means you both need to play louder, clarinets 1 and clarinet 2. But the articulation is still the exact same. The phrasing is still the exact same. It is long, connected, it is just stronger. Measure 19. Your dynamic doesn't go down, but it should. So it's kind of a piano section, because now you're just padding. Just padding means you are the chords. You are holding down the bass line behind other instruments that are playing at that point. You are no longer the most important thing, or even a melody. So that section, that's how you should be interpreting this as you play it. What I would like you to work on this week, I would like you to go through, re-record measures 3 to 33 with the recording. Work on those 2 exercises I just gave you. The one that we've been doing for the past few weeks with the 8 beats on, 8 beats off, and then our do, do, re, mi, re, do, and then measures 3 to 33. Your homework, I would like you to submit measures 3 to 33 again with the recording playing in the background. It's about 80 beats per minute. It's almost exactly 80 beats per minute. And I would like you to tell me how you changed how you played this section before. Go back and look at your old video, critique yourself, and then in 30 seconds to a minute, no less than 30 seconds, no more than a minute, tell me how you changed your playing, what techniques you used, how you feel you've gotten better, and then what parts you still need to work on in measures 3 to 33. Submit that to me. I will put the deadline on the Google Classroom. Email me if you have any questions. I will talk to you later.